It's live.
Oh, I knew it.
You just never know.
I've been yaying for a long time now.
I know, it took a little while.
It has.
Welcome, everybody, to eCourse Adventures Live.
The show where we teach creators, educators, entrepreneurs, media makers like you how to craft outrageously awesome online courses, learning experiences, communities, and build businesses that you're proud of, that you feel like excited to actually share with people around the world and charge the money for it. That you feel good receiving that money because you put your heart and soul into the creations that they're experiencing.
Totally.
We got an exciting show today.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh.
I liked your son's outfit, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
But we won't get into that until we actually let you know that we've got Mark Silver on the show. And we're going to be talking about
Business development.
Business development.
The 4 stages of your business development.
The heart
and
of
why.
business.
Why you might be really stressed about business. Maybe you're doing the wrong things in the wrong order, but we're going to talk about that after this.
After this. What happened?
Boo!
Oh, no, it's Brad the Ghost. I love it.
I forgot it was Halloween, and I had this planned for a week.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
For those of you listening to us on iTunes, which you can subscribe to on our iTunes channel, eCourse Adventures, I am invisible. At least my torso is. I've got arms and a head.
Yeah, now you just need to wear a wig
Yeah.
and a beard caked full of flour, and you could be
The wizard
the
from
wizard from
Forest.
Architect Forest.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought this would be a nice touch for today's show.
You know, I didn't even think that was Halloween until I looked down and going like, oh yeah, it's Halloween
It's
day
Halloween.
today. I could have wore a mask or something.
Something, anything, please.
Yeah, I was a lion on Saturday. We had a big party at the farm, and that's okay. It's just your mouth. You don't have to worry about it going down the tube. It's got nothing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, my seat's all wet now.
Clean up on aisle 1, please.
Oh man. So what have you been doing lately? What's the
have
last week? What's the last week in eCourse Adventures land? Because we are GSD and folks.
Oh,
we're
man,
getting shit done while having fun.
Yeah,
That's the name of the game.
that's true story. Yeah, it's been great. I actually just got myself back over to Apple products, Mac. I got a MacBook Pro.
Yay, we won.
Yay! Finally going back. Thanks, PC, but it's just easier. Brad's on a Mac. The business does Mac.
Don't put it on me. You had a terrible experience with your PC. It's not because I'm on a Mac. That makes no difference. You had a bad experience.
Yeah, I just want to be nice to PCs.
Yeah,
Because
totally.
it still works. There's actually things I'm missing in PC land. So this is hopefully the last show that I'll be using this computer as it is up for sale. But
If you want to buy it, just contact Blair.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean this has gone through some good times. This one made green screen magic.
No, this one didn't. The old one did, but this was the replacement for the old one. So this is a brand new machine.
They didn't need to know that, Blair.
What? Yeah.
I
guess we complain about the old one all the time. I can't sell it.
Yeah,
if
the
you're-
old episodes,
Yeah.
totally.
Anyways.
Yeah, so new laptop. New gear is always fun. And we just
gear.
got to see, we've been working with, if y'all remember Andy Freest from such eCourse Adventures as the great eCourse Adventure. We've actually we've got to come full circle, and we're actually doing some design work with Andy on our Survive the Storm course.
He's so good at it.
He's really good. If y'all need a good designer, Andy's pretty freaking fabulous. So he gave us one of his seed coaching sessions, which was amazing. We spent a few hours really dialing in the Survive the Storm's branding and
It looks
its
phenomenal.
message. It's amazing. And then from that information, he goes and he built the logo for it and the banner. We're just tweaking on some of the tagline stuff. So hopefully by next week we could show you what we've got for Survive the Storms. And then yesterday, I got to meet with our design team. So if you all remember, I think it was episode 7, we had Aaron and Jessica from the Conversion Experts. Well, Aaron has a web design company called Purpose 5, and they're like a bunch of mad scientists there where they do a ridiculous amount of Facebook ads testing to make sure that the copy and the flow of your website is high converting. It's brilliant. So they showed us our sales page. We're basically creating a sales page template so that we can kind of have a universal layout for all of the courses that'll be featured on ecourseadventures.com. And I got the sneak peek yesterday. It looks freaking awesome. And the really exciting news is in the next several weeks, we will actually have downloadable templates for all of you out there to build your sales pages with. That you can basically drop in, take out our information and put in your own, and you can have a sales page built that looks beautiful and converts people to signing up for your courses.
Now, you've been dreaming this up for years.
This has been 3 years. This has been like a big on my shoulders. Oh, where'd my shoulders go?
I can't use that term today.
I can't use that.
Pain in the neck, maybe?
It's been a bit. Yeah, it's been a pain in the neck.
Yeah,
I still
you
have a
got one
neck.
of those.
Yeah. So I'm really just delighted. Like, honestly, I'm so delighted to see that come together. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have all brand new sales pages.
So this is going to be what we call the UXI 5000.
UXI
If
5000.
you're familiar in the Great E-Course Adventure.
Yeah, if you made it to Fennel Caves.
Fennel Caves, and you're like, what the heck's this UXI thing that we talk about?
The ultimate customer sales experience 5000. It's like, because it came from our future selves, obviously. So our future selves sent the UXI 5000 back in time to help us create the ultimate customer sales experience, because most of it out there, most customer sales experiences we're going through, sales funnels, they're pretty like insulting. Like I feel kind of icky sometimes, a lot of the times. Yeah, so it's the un-ick factor is what we're going for there.
That's what we're going for. Totally. What else happened?
The e-course games.
Yeah.
We're in week 2.
Whoa.
There's some serious momentum happening for some of our climbers that are racing to the top of Launch Summit to build their ultimate free offering, the thing that people will get to receive for free when they sign up for your thing. And that's the connecting point when people arrive at your website, is like that free offering. It needs to be really damn good in order to take people on a long-term adventure with you.
It allows your potential customers and students to get to know you before they commit to a whole course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's head over to the mountain.
Should we go up to the mountain and check on what's going on?
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. It's brisk up here today.
I forgot my sweater today.
No,
I'll just put
you're
on
just
some
man.
gloves.
You got some gloves.
There we go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my coffee's too hot. I could just pour it on myself if I got cold up here.
Yeah, well, you're sitting in it now from when you were a ghost earlier.
So welcome, folks, to the e-course games. This is where we turn e-learning into a sport, and you, course creators, race to the top of Launch Summit to create your ultimate freebie. And as a result, you win cash, you make your course, and you change the world.
Yeah, so what's going on in the land of e-course games, Bradley?
Well, in the last week and a half since we launched the e-course games, or I guess it's been 2 weeks, we've got I think there's about 15 contenders right now that are all going for that $750 cash prize.
Amazing.
Plus coaching. That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
And we're now starting to see people are starting to formalize their idea. They're starting to get clear on exactly what they're going to do. Now, we only have till November 25th, which as of tomorrow will be 25 days, for people to complete their free offering. And I just want to spotlight Jonathan Stewart from The Busy Guitarist. He is making some serious headway with his offering. He's essentially... he's creating, just like we did with e-course adventures, he's creating a community space for people. So he's got his topics. He's starting to create content for each of the topics within there. Awesome. Just this week, one of the cool things about us participating in the forum or the campfire in the Great E-Course Adventures, we really get to know the students who participate the most, who are posting and sharing and working on their stuff. And so just earlier this week, I was out for a walk with Bonkers, my dog, and Jonathan's tagline came to me. It just kind of like popped into my brain. I wasn't even thinking about him. It just popped into my brain. And so his brand is The Busy Guitarist. And so the tagline that came through, because everything needs to be like, it's quick lessons, you're learning fast, it's high quality, professional, fast lessons for you to just like spend 10 minutes a day and get better at the guitar. So it's play better, faster.
Nice.
The Busy Guitarist, play better, faster. It says it all.
Yeah.
And like the idea of play is like, it's going to be fun. It has to do with playing. Better is there's improvement. And faster is the lessons are quick and you're going to get the results quicker.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I was just like,
one of the many benefits of being part of the community.
Yeah. The great ecourseadventure.com. If you want brilliant things like that coming through, you should participate.
Nice. So what else is going up on the mountain? Who's climbing this mountain? And have you had
Mars, one of our longtime adventurers, she just joined the race as well. She just threw her hat into the pile. Now she's got a few things. She's working on a course. So Mars is a doula. And so she is working. One of the ideas that she's coming up with is an intro to having twins. So she works with a lot of mamas that are having twins. Mars is kind of a big deal over in Europe. And so that's one of her ideas, is a course for mamas who are having twins to help prepare for that. And then that would lead into a bigger course to take them through the pregnancy series. And she's also doing a spotlight series, a course on putting a spotlight on influential Black women from throughout history, which is something that she's just really passionate about doing. And it's so cool to see her working on this project. So I'm not 100% sure which one she's going to go with for the e-course games, but I gave her 24 hours to come up with a decision so she can start.
It's running. A race, Mars. You got to make that decision.
Got to act quick. Which way do you take that fork in the trail?
Yeah.
And for everybody that's out there, like, don't overthink this. Like, this is going to be your thing that you're introducing people to, but it's a freebie. So just like, where are your strengths? What is the strength that
what makes you
have?
Shine?
What's going to make you shine when people show up? Is it like high quality audio experiences? Is it the art of storytelling, which we're really into over here at eCourse Adventures? And just come up with an offering that provides a quick result for people. That's what you want. You don't want them to have to spend weeks going through your free offering before they get a result. You want it to be fast, so you build a connection, you get them a result, and they're like, oh wow, this person's awesome. I just got, this benefit in my life for nothing at all. And it was actually really enjoyable.
Yeah. Best odds of success is just being yourself.
Yeah.
Standing out from the sea of sameness, as we say, is something that's kind of important these days. So being yourself, trusting that who you are, and making that shine is going to be your best way.
I was just doing an interview yesterday, and there was a few points that I covered. The interview was actually with Mark Silver, who we're interviewing in a moment here.
A pre-interview.
And the idea was, like, when you're creating your media and you're creating your courses, there's 3 questions. And these were the 3 questions we kept coming back to with the Great eCourse Adventure. Number 1 is you create something you would want to buy. So as you're building it, ask yourself, would I actually pull up my wallet and pay X dollars for? Or would I give my email address for this? Number 2 is, would I actually watch this media and enjoy it? So if the media is like, if you watch the media and you cringe, then ask yourself, like, what could I do to make this more enjoyable? Like, what kind of media would I be interested in?
Yeah.
And people, like, one of the things that is often overlooked is audio is such a powerful medium for guiding people, guided visualizations, meditations, even like little audio lessons that you can give people on a daily basis. They get like a regular audio. So I just want to say that. And then the third element that you want to come back to is, oh, darn it, what was the third?
Well, we're going to have to just ask Mark.
Maybe Mark remembers. Let's go to Mark.
Let's go over
We'll
Mark.
come back.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mark Silver. Hello, Mark.
Mark, can you hear us? Are you muted?
Ooh, it's warm in here now.
Phew, I know it's getting hot.
There we go.
Hey! Cheers. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Delighted to be here. And I was just listening to you all, and I was like, course for twins. Our twins are about to turn 10, so it's 10 years too late, but I'm glad she's doing that work. So
nice.
That's awesome.
10-year-old twins. Wow, what an experience.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Absolutely.
So tell us, what's that third thing that Brad was just referring
Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember.
Put him on the spot.
Because I did another interview with someone else that I was interviewing, like I interviewed you yesterday, and so my head is full of that because I haven't reviewed the video yet. It was the curriculum, it was the experience,
And the community.
and it was the community.
Those are our 3 pillars. Yeah.
Right.
And the checklist was, would I buy this? Would I watch this? And there was another. It's in there, folks. But if you just start with would I buy this and would I watch this, and that'll
Right.
get you off to the races, folks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Nice.
And the third one was just around community. Would I want to be here? You know, like if you're building a community, build the community that you would want to create with all
Right.
of the clarity from all the online communities you've been a part of. Like take that and then build your dream community.
Yeah, because you're going to be
That's-
part of it
that's
for a
been what's
while.
happened.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
Yeah.
successful, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of successful,
We've got Mark Silver on the
Yeah,
show.
exactly.
Hey!
Congratulations on you've been on this journey for quite a while. I mean, we met, it had to have been close to 10 years ago, 8 years ago maybe in Victoria at the Belly Fit Summit. And
Right.
you've been rocking out the heart of business. Now, before we get
Since
into
2001.
yeah, that's a long time to
good
be
long
doing the same style of business. So why don't you give us like your elevator pitch version of what the heart of business is and what it's all about before we dive into our theme for the show?
Yeah. You know, the heart of it is that there are people who are solo in business or have very tiny businesses. They have something that they're wanting to bring to the world, and for most of them, there's no job like that.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to make a difference in the world. But this economy, it's not. You got to make a profit too. And so it's really about when you want to make a difference and you need to make a profit. And the business has to feel good to your heart. It has to be in integrity. It has to feel good so that you can follow through with it. It's the business has to feel as good as the work that you're doing. And so we've been working with people since 2001. Me and my team. I didn't have a team when I first started, but we've worked with thousands of business owners all over the globe in different cultures and different approaches, just really helping them integrate something that is both spiritually nourishing, and digs into the nitty gritty of how do you make it work with integrity.
Yeah. Now you talk about the 4 stages of business development, and I
Yes.
think most people, because we've got busy lives, a lot of people are working, some other side job or side projects. A lot of our clients are parents as well, so there's a lot going on. And so when people get, like I'm seeing this with my wife Celeste, she's now really like starting to run with her business. And it's kind of like when we get these pockets of time where we can dig in and try and get some progress, if we're focusing on the wrong things, then, we're not really getting to that mountaintop that we're trying to get to, right? So maybe we could dig into what those 4 stages of business development are and then take it from there.
Yeah, well, it's really important. I mean, I've been privileged to work with so many. I mean, like I said, thousands of people over nearly 2 decades.
Amazing.
And I really began to spot, I guess maybe it was 10 years ago or so, really began to spot like, okay, there are stages of development that a business goes through. And the tragedy is that most people who are self-employed, they don't, like, there's no place to get the A to Z of it. Like they usually, like they take a workshop and they read a book and they talk to somebody and they get all these pieces in place that are actually from different stages of the business. I mean, imagine trying to climb a mountain by starting in the middle and then going down to the bottom and then trying to do something that's near the peak, to use your all's metaphor, which is fun.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we know that all
you
too
can't
well.
climb a mountain like that. You can't climb a mountain like that. And you end up with a to-do list that is overwhelming is a kind way to describe it. It's like it's just not doable. And the other thing that's on top of this is that people start to think that there's something wrong with them or something wrong with their business.
A lot of business shame that goes around, isn't there?
A lot of shame. And it's like, you have kids, it's like I've got my twins, they're going to be 10. When they were 6, did I give them the keys to the car? Did I, expect them to like cook dinner? It's like one of my sons loves to cook and he can make breakfast for us. Like there's different things he can cook now. He can find his way around the kitchen. He couldn't do that a few years ago. And there was nothing wrong with him. He just wasn't developmentally there yet. So this is kind of like the heart of what, when we talk about, this is one of the models we use, is the stages of development, to understand, because you do have a long list of things to do, but you don't have to do them all right now.
Amazing. What a concept.
Yeah.
They can wait. Some of them can wait months or even years, depending. And I'll add one more thing, which is that, thank goodness, it doesn't take 18 years for a business to mature. It's like, it's like, I'm using the analogy of kids, but it doesn't take that long. It does take, I've seen, like, the fastest I've seen someone do from complete startup in ideal circumstances and with nothing else really hanging over them is about 18 months, but it's more likely 3 to 4 years to really go from that first stage creation into what we call the third stage. And there is a fourth stage, which is optional, but the third stage of momentum, where the business is really producing reliable income every month and there's no hiccups. It's just running smoothly. And really
we're just reaching our 3-year mark here. And I feel like, okay, we're starting to build some momentum. We're growing a team now and things are kicking off. But I mean, it's been hard and fun at the same time.
And 3 years goes by faster than one would think sometimes. There's
Yeah.
definitely
It's the
points.
blur, right?
Yeah, it's like, holy crap, we're actually here already. Holy moly, just keep with it. But that's the hard part, is staying with it during those rocky periods.
Yeah,
it is. It is. And if you focus on the right things in the right order, and I say right, I mean, the things that are most effective in an order that makes it easier, then you're going to see successes earlier. You're going to not feel as overwhelmed, and you're going to start with the low-hanging fruit and then build on something that works. Rather than trying to push something really heavy from the get-go and having to kind of fix it, wondering why it's not starting. So the 4 stages, just to kind of bullet point them, is there's creation, there's concentration, the second stage, and that's where feast or famine happens. I'll explain that in a minute. The third stage is momentum, and there's some particular things that need to be focused on in momentum to make it truly momentum. And then you all are actually moving into, or are kind of working with, the fourth stage, which is what we call independence. And that is a completely different thing. Most business owners who are solo or micro don't go to that stage, and there's a lot of people I've warned away from that stage. Heart of Business is in that stage too, and there's in the fourth stage, and there's you just gotta be ready for it. Anyway, we can talk about
The big words. Yeah.
It's a different thing. It's a different beast. So the first stage, creation, is really you want this to be as short as possible. And the tension in creation is that you're just starting out. You don't even know really what your business is. You need to have a sense of play and experimentation and exploration at the same time that you're probably like, oh my God, there's no money coming in. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, how do I get this going?
I'm sure many of our listeners are way too familiar with this stage.
Yep. Definitely.
And it's why there's a few relatively simple things that get you through it. And we also recommend that people don't what's known as cliff diving, where somebody takes, some kind of training, they get trained in a modality, they get really excited, like, I'm going to make my business work. They quit their job and they just go full time, and their business hasn't even started yet.
Me.
We're like,
you did that?
Yeah, in 2005. I dropped out of college. I quit my jobs.
Is this the t-shirt
business? I just threw myself into it. It was, my first 10 years of entrepreneurship. I should have been working part-time, but instead I'd be like 2 months late for rent, and I didn't have kids at the time. It was
right,
so
you don't
stressful.
Have kids, you don't,
I lost all the hair, like my hair is gone.
It's the opposite
so
of me.
Stressful. And the challenge is that so many people are not at that stage of business where they start. They're usually like, midway or partway through a different kind of career. They have kids, they have responsibilities, and then suddenly they're like drowning because they know cliff. Do not cliff dive, please.
Don't do it, folks.
I worked part-time when I was starting my business. It's something that is a completely honorable thing to do.
Yep.
So
I would say swallow your pride, everybody. I wish my 20-year-old self would have swallowed my pride and just worked, even just worked 20 hours a week to just pay the bills so that I wasn't like hustling for 10 years,
And here's a tip too from my experience.
by going slower, because you have more access to your creativity when you're not panicked about survival.
And here's a tip too, like get a part-time job that's somewhat in your field that you're moving into, because it's great for networking,
skill building too.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
It all funnels into your business idea.
So the first level of creation, what you're doing is you're doing some very simple things that may be really new to you, and this is why we want to keep it simple. One is you're figuring out like who are you trying to reach? That whole question of like niche or audience and the problem you're trying to solve, that everyone who teaches marketing talks about this. And we have a very heart-centered particular way of bringing people through this question and coming up with a way to talk about your business that doesn't have people rolling their eyes or getting bored or saying, what, I'm going to go get a drink, I'll be back, and they never come back. You want to have what we call the one compelling sentence that is really coming from the heart and doesn't sound like marketing. And that is one of the, because when you have that, can be one of the hardest things for people to get, but with guidance you can totally get it. And everything else on the business rests on that, because once that's in place, everything else becomes easier. So there's that piece. The second piece is you need to have an offer, right? You need to be selling something that's more than just like a session. There's got to be some way to craft your offer, to create an offer. And it's not complicated, not sophisticated necessarily, but just something so that when you enroll people, you're not on this treadmill of like enrolling one session and then enrolling one session and then enrolling one session, and your clients don't get the results that they need, and you're not seeing the consistency.
And that's the thing, is like you're creating a journey for people to go on with you, not just like a 7-Eleven like
basic service.
Just like here's a quick fix for you. It's a journey, right?
It's so true. So you get those two pieces in place, and then the next piece that you want to work on is learning how to have a heart-centered, non-manipulative sales conversation, what we call sacred selling, because so many people just don't understand how sales really work. And I don't mean manipulative sales, because there's like, on one hand, there's like the, this kind of gross,
I think we're all so familiar with that side.
Actually, our How Did We Do It section today, we've got
but it is Halloween. Do you want to go into great detail? You can freak some people out.
I know how scary it is. It's the zombie of like, you must buy or you will die. Kind of, it's like, or I'll cut the price in half if you choose now, if you enroll now. It's like all these gross tactics that leave you feeling slimy and don't earn you repeat business or referrals, by the way. That's the business. So a heart-centered and integrity-based sales conversation is so important, because the other side of it is that for most of us who really have a heart and care, you so don't want to do that the sales conversations end up being unfocused, they end up being boring, they end up losing people's attention, and people end up saying, you know what, I'll think about it, and then they disappear and they never show up, and you don't know like what happened. And we want to get you to the point where you can be enrolling like 5 or 6 or 7 out of 10 of the people that you talk to, they become clients, and because they're the right people for you, because there's always a certain number of people that aren't going to be right. That's good, that they can come to a clear no. And so the final piece of creation is then when you have a raving fan, when you have somebody, or even just a colleague or somebody in the network, that you know how to ask for referrals, which is a skill very similar to the sacred selling, because a lot of people feel really uncomfortable. What do these 4 things do? These 4 things have you with like who you're reaching, you have an offer, how to sell it and have conversations, and you know how to ask for referrals, and you're not necessarily going to be making all the money that you need to make at that point, but you have a working business.
Yeah, there's a flow and a system in place that you can duplicate it again and again and again, and over time that's what leads to that momentum thing where all of a sudden it's like, okay, I know what we're doing, we're actually like moving this horse, here we go.
Exactly. Notice I didn't mention website, notice I didn't mention business cards, notice I didn't mention a logo, I didn't mention like all these things, fancy systems. And it's like simple. Focus, first clients, creation. Often can get through this in 6 months or less. And
I love that. It's so, people put so much focus on, I was even seeing my wife Celeste in the last few months as she's starting to work on her women's grief community and grief offerings. And she's, she was putting all this energy on like, okay, I got to go to Squarespace and Squarespace. Yeah. And like build my website. And she was spending like, her precious business time is like 3-hour chunks twice a week. And she was spending all that time trying to find a layout. And then she's like stressing about pictures. I was like, no, let's just go create the offering first. Like, let's go create the thing.
Exactly. Because she doesn't, if you create your website and do all these other fancy, more advanced things ahead of like working with your first clients, in 6 months, you're going to want to completely change your website anyway.
Exactly. Because the messaging changes, your approach changes, your pricing's going to change. Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
So glad you're saying
So that's
this.
why you have to have some play and experimentation. So the second stage is concentration, where you take what works and then you apply what we call the 3 journeys of marketing. You start to, it is the website. It is having a more in-depth marketing message that can really start to speak to people. You start to kind of put these, you start to experiment with maybe leveraging your time, like having a course or having a group offer of some sort. So it's not just one-on-one work. And some people don't need to go there, and that's not a bulk of their business, but they start to experiment with it. You start to experiment with, okay, so now that this works, how do I make it more sustainable? What happens in the second stage is that the marketing works, you start to get busy, you start to get lots of clients, and then you start dealing with those clients, right? You start taking care of the clients, and so you stop doing the marketing. You stop doing the marketing because there's too much going on for one person. And then your clients naturally complete. They loved you, they finished up, they moved on, and then you're like, I need more clients. So you go back to doing the marketing, but there's a delay because it's not like turning on a faucet, right? These are people and relationships. And that's where the feast and famine comes in. The first stage is kind of mostly famine and you start to eat. The second stage, you do well, and then it goes, and then you do well, and then it's down again. And to even that out, you need to move into momentum, which talks about like getting support. I don't even mean a payroll, just like, making sure that you have somebody you can call on who's a web person who can figure out the tech issues. So you don't spend your whole weekend or 20 hours trying to figure out something you're not qualified to do. Can put in place systems that make things smooth. You start to like continue to tweak your marketing message. You start to make everything start to hum. So all aspects of the business can continue to run even when you get busy. You start to look at questions of business model. You're probably starting to hit ceilings of earning just from working with one-on-one people that started in the earlier stages. And you're like, wow, I'm making a decent living, but to be able to fund retirement, to be able to really make the money I need to look at business. All of these pieces start to come into place in the third stage. And it just takes time to iterate through those, but you focus on these in order and it becomes beautiful. It's just beautiful how I see people stepping into momentum and flying and being able to earn a really good living doing work that's really needed.
That's the dream, right?
That's what we're all busting our butts for, is to be living that dream.
Exactly.
I feel like, with us, with this many year slog as entrepreneurs, like we've finally kind of reached that peak, and now that momentum's kicking in, and it's like, oh, okay, like we've refined our craft and our systems and all the things enough that, okay, we're finally doing the thing. We're not just trying to do the thing, which is a good feeling. It definitely adds to confidence, but we all have to go on that hero's journey, from being the beginner and being okay with being the beginner, that we don't have to try and create that fancy, gorgeous $10,000 website to make us appear like the expert. Like we can.
Oh my God, my heart breaks when I see beginners who've barely started are being quoted like insane amounts of money for coaching, or like $10,000 websites. And when like they'll be lucky to break 10 or 15 or $20,000 in the first year. I'm like,
that's not a good business move.
No, it's a journey, and it takes helping a lot of people before we can do this. Like for me, with the meditation work that Blair and I did online, like I did 500 workshops, in-person workshops, before ever creating my first online course. And Blair did music production for like over a decade before we started working together and composing media and doing videography together. Like it takes a set amount of time to develop the skills necessary to get to where we're at. And when people join the Great E-Course Adventure, depending on where they're at on their journey, we're like, treat this journey like a 2 to 4 year university degree. Like put in the time, schedule this in so that you show up 1 or 2 days a week, and like you put in everything you can into this. And in 2 years from now or 4 years from now, you're going to have a sustainable business that you're really excited about. You'll have a team around you, but it all starts right here. Right here, right
That's
now.
exactly, we have the exact same message for folks in our learning community, because it's the exact same thing. It's like, just give yourself to this and give yourself to the process, and give yourself 2 to 3 years and 1 to 3 years, and be patient and compassionate and gentle with yourself in the learning process, and not try to do it. I consistently, tell people, like, we're not looking for perfect, we're just looking for effect. An effect has there's a spectrum of effective, rather than needing to hit the bullseye.
I so appreciate your compassionate and patient approach with this. I mean, it takes years of wisdom to do that. Me being a Taurus, I'm extremely bullheaded, and I still race towards results, but it's getting better, and I'm being more realistic and more patient. I would say like the thing that helped me the most to just kind of like ease off the gas pedal was to create a 10-year vision for myself, that instead of having to be at my 10-year vision in 1 year, like most people do with goal setting, and what I did for over 10 years is I gave myself 10 years of space to evolve into what I wanted to become with my life and business and all these things.
So
it suddenly gave me room to breathe and be okay with myself as I am right now. And it's amazing. So yeah, that like just being patient. I mean, it's great to put on the gas pedal and make progress towards the vision, but at the same time, we have to accept where we are at this stage of our development and understand the bigger picture of where we're trying to move to.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. I'll mention just briefly, just so I don't leave people hanging, like that fourth stage, which we call independence, because, and I think it deserves to be kind of like, left till the end and kind of put off to the side. Because what it is it's when most people who've come to me saying, oh, I want to move to that fourth stage. Fourth stage is when you have other people working for you, you have a payroll, you have other people who are doing your work. Like at Heart of Business, we have other practitioners who work at Heart of Business delivering client services. We have, it's like you end up not doing the work that you love, but learning how to be a CEO, president, of a company, and running it. And there's a whole different set of skills around leadership and around delegation and around leading a team, and all of these pieces that need to be learned. And for me, frankly, it was a pretty steep, painful learning curve for that. And most people who say they want that are saying it because that's the only thing they think is going to get them. And usually what they really mean is they just want a really well-running business that's at momentum, like something that's in late stage momentum. Well, they've got a little bit of help. You've got some administrative help. You definitely have what you could call a team, but you don't have a payroll and you're not a CEO, and you still get to do the work that you love.
Yeah, totally. I can see how we all kind of dream of that big business, doing what we love, and making 6, 7, 8 figures, and just like the big dream. But the reality is, something that's bringing that sort of money in is a big machine with a lot of running parts, a lot of people working in and amongst themselves. And as we're learning, we have 4 people kind of on our team now.
We both have our first assistants on board. So I have kind of an admin assistant now doing about 20 hours, and Blair just brought on a media assistant to help take off some of the load for him. And so
it's adding a whole lot of stress to my life.
It does in the beginning.
Yeah,
it does.
Because now I have to learn how to communicate the things that I normally would just do. It's all internal. I don't have to really think about it.
Right.
But now I have to communicate that to someone else, create a plan, a schedule, like
you asked for it.
I know.
Yeah, it's
the only reason I went on that journey to independence is because I had there was a deep calling. Like I had to put my head down. It was like internal, like you have to learn about this. And I'm so happy that I did, because the body of work that I've created over 20 years based on all this experience, like if I want to do something else with my life in 10 years, like I don't want all of that to disappear. And I also want, there's so many people struggling in our world, need so much help. I'm not pretending I'm going to help everybody. There's a lot of people doing this work, and it's beautiful that there's so much help. But for the people who resonate with what we do, I don't want it to be limited just to my personal ability to help people. This is work that I want to see so many people flying. We need heart-centered, spiritually oriented, grounded, caring, loving people who are being successful in this dysfunctional marketplace that we're in.
Sacred economics.
Bringing in a new reality. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a great book, by the way. I'm sure you're well familiar with it.
Yeah.
Charles Eisenstein all the way. So, yeah.
So, do you have a way for people to identify where they actually are, so they can kind of have a little real talk with themselves and get clear on where they are on this journey, so that
that's exactly what we did. Is we created, this was if I had been in your e-course adventure, and you'd been there on the games, I created an assessment. And so there's a pretty short video, about 15 minutes. It also has a really cool teaching on heart-centered pricing, on what we call resonant pricing, which is something a lot of business owners struggle with, is pricing. But it's a 15-minute assessment video. We call it the readiness assessment. It's like, are you ready to exceed? And it will help you not only deeply understand the, because I went deeply into one stage, but I kind of glided over the other stages. It's like you'll learn all 4 stages in more detail, and you'll be able to assess where you are.
Isn't that a key, right? Because I'm sure we think we're one thing, and the reality is another thing.
It's kind of like we got this giant map with the destination we're trying to get to. It always helps to have the "you are here" arrow, so you know where you gotta go.
Map, but where am I?
Exactly.
What do I do? I don't know which way to point. And what's great is that if you fill out the assessment, you'll get a personal response. I or somebody's going to on the team, usually me, because I love seeing these come in. I still, after all these years, have a delight for people who are in earlier stages of business. There's just such a tender place in my heart for that, because it's so beautiful to watch that. But, you get a personal response, it's like, we'll take a look at it and see, what is it that's going on, and can we confirm what's going on for
I know if I was back in the early stages of, trying to turn ideas into businesses and make money, I mean, you would definitely be the guy I wish I had when I was getting all this going, because I could just see you would help me foster that seed with so much care. Whereas I was just like, damn it, seed, grow. Why won't you grow? What am I doing wrong? Whereas I could just picture you taking my hand, Brad, nature will work its path. Just Take care of the seed. Love the seed. You'll be okay.
Right. And it's not right. And it's not even the seed. Like, we had a huge garden, and we grew so many tomatoes because I canned them, and we freeze them and can them and do wonderful things. And like 16 tomato plants. Like, we've got so many quarts of tomatoes. But pretty late in the season, because we're relatively new to upstate New York. We've been here for 3 or so years. Pretty late in the season, there's still like all these green tomatoes, and it's like, oh my God, do we do something wrong? Are they gonna ripen? Is it gonna work? And it's like, you don't try to make a tomato grow. You don't try to make a seed grow. What you do is you pay attention to the environment. You make sure it has the water it needs. You make sure the soil is nourishing. The seed grows on its own. And so that's what we help people do in our learning community, which, we have it's an all-in-one place. Like, we have all the learning modules that'll walk you through the stages, all available there. We have the pathway, much, it's very similar to what you all are offering, because it works, right? It's like you can do the complete path and walk step by step by step. If you find yourself later in the stages when you come to us, you can then just fill in the pieces that you need, if you need an a la carte experience.
Yeah.
There's spiritual nourishment, because that's at the heart of everything we do. And there's regular coaching and feedback, and oh my God, our community is so generous. People are so generous, helping each other out in such profound ways. It's been called like one of the unique places on the internet where people will just be so kind and helpful with each other. I'm just blown away by the love.
We just had a comment come in from Joe Rhodes, and she said, a big thank you to Mark for the work he does. I did Heart of Money and Heart of Business course a few years ago, and they helped me enormously with ups and downs of starting a new community project. So there you have it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I never got a business coach because I was so skeptical about all of the business coaches out there, because there was just not a resonance. They were trying to get me to do things that just felt disgusting. And I wish I had found you sooner to be able to help me foster the stages and understand the stages. But here we are, and now we get to share you with other people that are earlier on in the journey. And I tell you, folks, like, to have that guidance and to just like have that patience with the different stages that you're going to go through as you build your ultimate vision is so key.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was beautiful. That really touched my heart hearing that. I love it, to see people be successful with these pieces that I needed. Like, it's like what you said before, like, build something that you'd want. Like, I had to build something that I needed.
Yeah.
And and similar to yours, like our learning community, like there's a 10-day free trial, like, come check it out. And I had another revelation based on like the kind of elitism in the business coaching world and like how much people charge. We have our community priced at pay from the heart, meaning that we do have a minimum request, but people name their own price. And if somebody's food or shelter is going to be risked, like, we're not going to take food out of your mouth. You can pay less than the minimum, but most people pay the minimum, but some people don't. And we want you to fly. Like, let the people come. We want you to fly. And after years and years of doing this, I'm just wanting people to get the help. And that's what we want to invite you into.
I love the pay what you can model for an online community. That's beautiful. Joe asks one more follow-up question, so maybe this is a good leaving off point. She says, can you talk a little bit about finding your jewel? She said,
I'm a acknowledged master teacher in my Sufi lineage, and we do a lot of very accessible, very profound spiritual work because people need healing, because our economy is, our culture can be so dysfunctional. People have a lot of pain around it, and so the healing is needed with the business work. And the jewel is something that our hearts carry a divine quality in it. I mean, we carry all the divine qualities, but each person carries a quality that is a little bit more, it's like if you have many facets of a diamond, that's the facet that is facing forward, that is yours. And the jewel, what the big revelation about the jewel, people see it and they think, oh, I've got to do this and this is who I've got to be. The jewel is something that you need. that you need. And as you fill up with it, it's like a rain barrel. The rain barrel fills to the top, and then it spills out on others, and other people can drink from it. And it's the core of what makes your business attractive, because it's spiritual attraction that your heart carries in your business. It's the anchor for you. It's your source of nourishment, and it's what helps bring real uniqueness when many other people are probably doing the same thing you do, which is good, because we need as many people doing the work as possible. And your jewel helps you shine in a particular way that is unique, so that the people who can really get what they need from you can find you. And we have a process support for people to begin to name and understand and drink and receive and give from their jewel.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. I love it.
Uh-huh.
I love it. Where can people find that self-assessment? We'll include it in the show notes on our main page where this will exist.
Well, if you go to heartofbusiness.com and you click on the free stuff tab,
Yep.
it's there.
Perfect.
That's
Easy.
the most direct way to find it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great starting point for all of you out there. If this is resonating and you want to have more self-awareness about where you are on your journey, then go do that. That's a great starting point. And Mark, we'd love to have you back on, and even if you're teaching a webinar workshop anytime, that would be awesome to just keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
Let's do it. That would be amazing.
Awesome.
So great. So everybody, heartofbusiness.com, check it out. Mark, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the world and for the way that you're approaching business and entrepreneurship and making money. It's amazing. Very refreshing.
Amin. Thank you so much for the space that you're creating. I feel really touched and humbled that you invited me on. So
We're super grateful. Okay, brother, we'll have fun with the next stages and with all the people that you get to work with. Hopefully we send some your way right away.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Be honored.
Thank you.
See you later, Mark.
Peace.
So refreshing.
I know, right?
Wow. So on the theme of Heart of Business today, we've got a really polarizing video that we're going to show in our How Did You Do That section of the show, where we break down one of the lessons that we did and we show you how we did it.
Yeah.
So today we're going to take you up to Salus Canyon, where we help you basically create your sales content, your message that you want to share with your people. So this is the first lesson at Salus Canyon, and we're just going to show you a little bit, and then we'll tell you how we did it.
All right, here we go. Is it working? Oh, I'm not hearing any audio.
Uh-oh. Timeout.
Timeout.
Redo.
Let's try that again. Wonder what's going on here.
And
All right, Brad, you need the stall.
So just yesterday, this is actually a cool story. We got this little chair, and yesterday Soren, my son, he's 2.5 now, he came into the office while I was working on some Mighty Network stuff, and he was just like, "Papa, I want to work on a computer with you." So I was like, cool. So I went to the closet and I pulled out his little chair. Blair and I always joke that Soren's going to be the future CEO of the company, and that him and his buddies are taking over when they're 7 so we can retire. And so anyways, he sat down in the chair right beside my desk. I was at the stand-up desk and he was sitting at my feet. And he's like, "Papa, where's my computer?" So I grabbed a clipboard and a piece of paper and I drew him a computer. And he freaking sat there and colored for 10 minutes. Sitting beside me, I looked down, I snapped a picture at him, which I'll post to the community later, and I was just like, this is so cool. I get to be here at home. My son's working at my feet right now. I'm working on something I'm super stoked about. I was just like,
Nice.
dream accomplished.
CEO
Thank
training
you. Yeah.
101.
It was such a beautiful experience, and for all of you out there, that's what it's all about, to have that freedom and to have that ability to be at home with our kids and to just get to foster that experience. And it was just a really beautiful moment.
All right, let's hope.
Hey, good stalling, eh?
Yeah, that was good stall.
Hike up the mountain. Man, any wonder they call this ooh-ah point.
Look at this.
Ooh-ah point.
Right?
All right, well, I'm pooped, so what do y'all say we stop here and we do our first lesson on building sales letters?
Did somebody say sales letters?
Who's that?
Oh boy, it's your lucky day. My name is Rick McGillicuddy, and I am the New York Times best-selling author of the Suicide Sales Machine. Basically, I help my clients write such good sales copy that people kill themselves if they don't get what you're selling. I also created the Extreme Sales Home Study course. It's basically the pressure cooker, wound poking, high converting sales blueprint for breaking people down and turning them into high paying clients. What do you say I make this your day? What do you say I co-teach this lesson with you?
How do you say no to
You
that?
seem to
Sounds really
know
great.
about sales, and so I'm sure there's something that you could probably teach our students. So, what the heck? Sure. Let's do it. Why don't you join us? Well, super duper. That's fantastic. Just give me a minute. I gotta go get a coffee, and then we'll begin. Just wait right here. I'll be right back.
Okay, Slick Rick. Well, we'll just be here.
Yeah.
Thus begins your journey of learning sales copy.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's we wanted to showcase the juxtaposition of what a lot of us have experienced in sales and sales funnels and kind of poking fun at it.
Yeah.
To really help showcase the way that we believe sales can be done and what we just talked with Mark about.
So that whole module or checkpoint of the Great E-Course Adventure, you know, eventually you write the sales copy from your own heart to the people that you're trying to reach with it. But each lesson opens with Slick Rick teaching you his way, which is the standard way that most people are doing it in the industry. And then we kind of we shift directions.
Crushing, you know, I like the what he said about like if you what's the first one, the killer one?
Oh, the killer copy that basically break the pressure cooker that breaks people down and pokes at their wounds.
And if it doesn't work, you kill yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, writing copy that's so good people kill themselves. They don't get into your course.
Yeah.
So Blair,
Yeah.
how did we do that?
Well, good question. This was a fun one because we wanted to showcase Slick Rick and hiding behind this rock. So what I needed to do, and I can't fully remember if this was just
No wonder they call this.
point. I can't remember if this was all one background.
This
or
is two backgrounds.
Yeah, and I think I cut out the foreground and then put this, Grand Canyon sort of background behind it. And then I needed to create 3 layers here, these rocks, to allow for it to stagger between. So when the character Slick Rick came out, as you can see here, I'm just going to mute this here so I can move through. You can see he pops out from behind and then walks in front. And so this took a little bit of special effects where I needed to allow for, it was almost a cropping here.
Yeah.
So realistically, this is a layer in front of this one, but I'm cropping Slick Rick out. So it looks like he's actually behind here. And then as I switch it, then I move it forward, and now he's in front of that rock. So it looks like he's walking forward.
And it looks like it gives the illusion that we're in a ginormous studio or we're at the Grand Canyon. But really, this whole thing was filmed on like a 6 foot wide triangle. So 6 feet at the widest point, and then like maybe 5 feet long towards the tip of the triangle. So it was a very small space that we had to craft this.
Yeah, we created all this essentially in a bedroom size studio.
Yeah.
And just using some of that magic. So I cut out this rock in front, and therefore it's in front of the layer of this green screen character, and that we recorded. And yeah, like that's kind of what the magic is. And then as you can see, I'm also using in Premiere Pro what I call nesting. And so I nest it all together. And then from here, I can get these close-up shots to create as if there's multiple cameras on set taking the shots. Like, so you've got camera 1, camera 2, then you got even a closer-up camera. It goes back to camera 1, goes back to camera 2. And so it creates a little bit more movement and interest to the eye. So when you're watching it, there's some movement going on. And and then the beauty of it too is the acting, the interaction. So we created the script, so we knew what we were going to be saying.
Everybody had a line. So, you know, coming up, we're acting here as if we just climbed this canyon.
Mountain, out of breath. We're interacting with the background to give that sort of sense of reality, pointing to it, commenting on it, and then also getting the sight lines. So you can see here the sight lines were in place as well. So that's something that I've definitely brought forward to this creation, and having someone behind the camera assisting, making sure it looks good and helping those things, because it would have been really challenging for Brad and Andy to create that if I wasn't viewing it from behind the camera. So
and it's so fun what we can do, like, you know, like what we have here. Once you learn the basics of green screen, this is totally doable, that you could duplicate what we've done here quite easily. And even the interaction between me and Slick Rick, like we knew, because we had the background chosen first, which is really essential for doing green screen work, because you have to know your background. So we could basically know where Rick was going to be. So right there, it looks like Andy and I are actually looking at Slick Rick.
Totally right. Yeah.
So it creates this illusion that all of a sudden the mind starts to accept that, like, oh yeah, I could believe this. And, you know, there's background sounds, there's some birds chirping in the background and that sort of thing. And it helps to make that illusion more real. And if you want to learn these types of tricks, we've got greenscreenmagic.com. For $200, we're going to take you through the whole process of learning to produce high quality green screen work. We're going to learn to be a better presenter of your information, which is a huge part of the course. And in the end, you're going to learn how to do all these types of cut shots, how to create your own stages and backgrounds, just like Blair did here with multiple layers.
Done here, we go through all those processes. And so, yeah, if this is something that you're interested, like to take further, so your creativity and your imagination can start to come to life, go, head on over, check it out.
And if you're doing the whole 2 to 4 year university degree with building your online course business, then you'd be silly not to get this course right now at this stage of development, because it's going to teach you, it's going to accelerate your path. We had to create over 100 green screen videos to be able to get to where we're at.
Yeah, because this is like checkpoint 10. And probably
70-ish videos into the Creative Course Adventure.
Exactly, right? So we were starting to really, each video I would create, I would always try to do something a little bit more, and our imagination could start to expand a little bit more, which allowed us to have more fun and to interact with our students in ways that we before just thought was impossible. But we never really said no. We'd always just take the time. So yes, it took effort to create the cutouts, in Photoshop, and then place the layers into it, learning about creating, what's it called, where the background is transparent, and how you place those is using PNGs instead of JPEGs, all this sort of stuff. It's part of the learning environment. And the learning curve. But, in a couple of years from now, what you could create is going to be phenomenal. So
this is art. We're here to make art. Art that educates.
Art that educates. I like how you're fixing your hair. All right, Slick Rick's is fixing his hair.
Well, he's got to look good.
Yeah, and you go get a coffee, and so the characters, and then we go into the lesson, offer some stuff, and then we finish it up with a really fun little splash there.
Ooh. So that, folks, is how we did that. So check out Green Screen Magic if you're not a part of that course. It's so much fun to learn this technical stuff. That's a wrap. That was a good show. Good conversation. Check out heartofbusiness.com.
Yep.
Next week, we have Christy Greenwood on the show. Now, Christy is She's actually got a course up on the eCourse Adventures platform. Her course is called Dance Yourself Free. Christy is a mama of a teenager. She works her butt off with her business, and she spent about 22 months developing her course, Dance Yourself Free, and it is phenomenal. It's a transformational dance journey, an 8-week journey. She did all the videos, the music production. She put her heart and soul into this course, and it is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to talk about her journey to Launch Summit, what she learned, what she recommends for all of you out there, and we're going to give you some sneak peeks at her course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either. I like this show. I hope you all do too. If you do, leave us a review on iTunes. We would love that. That helps us to get up to the rankings so more people discover us.
Yeah. And happy Halloween. Enjoy the evening. Happy Celtic New Year. It's Samhain as well for my Celtic friends.
Heyo.
Heyo. And yeah.
That's that.
That's
High
that.
five. That's a wrap. Good
Nice
job, everybody.
work.
We'll see you around the campfire.
Later, everybody.